Hey guys, M13 here. Yeah, I don't know how my camera stays level because my camera, it's crazy. I have it affixed to the front of my scooter, and the front of my scooter, it's at an angle, like so. My camera right now should be like this to be level, and it's like this. So I got a camera that's tilted it at like an angle like this, 15, 20 degree angle, and then pointing it at me. But yet what you see is level. It's got to have some kind of like gyroscope or something on the inside of it that just figures out what the horizon is, what's level. It's amazing. It really is amazing how it works. And that's the great thing about buying a 360 camera, is you can stick it anywhere, and the video is going to be level. Yeah, can you imagine, like with a GoPro, when you put a GoPro, like first of all, the only place I can put a GoPro is on top of my helmet, and then I'd have to make sure it's right in the center so that it's level. But with an with an Insta camera. A 360 camera, you could just stick it on the side, like at an angle, sticking out like this, and the video would still be perfect. Where the heck? No, this is not where I want to be. Whenever you pull into these little dead end roads by accident, I'm always waiting for the dogs to come running out and attack me. Okay. We're doing new roads today. When I work far from my home, and there's a lot of nice roads, but so I experiment with the different roads. But one of the problems I have is when I'm either going to work or coming home from work, there's always like one or two roads that I have to do, and it's odd to me because like I work, and my home and my work are very far from one another. So you'd think it would be possible theoretically to take one road to work and a different road home. But I can't. I can take different roads when I leave my work. Like there's 5 different roads I can take. But I'm always gonna. There's like a bottleneck. It's like an hour. Yeah, like a sand glass. No matter which road I take, I'm still gonna end up doing that middle of the sand glass part. One specific road. There's always one specific road that I can't seem to find a way around or a different way. So yeah. So today I'm attempting it. I'm probably gonna have to double my commute just to avoid one road. But yeah, it's funny because the weird thing is that it's in the middle of the commute. Like it makes sense if there's one road that you have to do to get home, or one road that you have to do like a little bit before you get to your work. But no, that's not a problem. The problem is like right in the center of my commute, there's some road that every road leads to, and I can't. It's because of mountains, and it's because of a valley. There's like a little valley that I have to get around 2 mountain ranges. There's like a valley in the middle, and there's only one road down it, and I have to do that valley road to get home. Yeah. So today I'm taking a long way home to try to. I'm gonna go around the mountain another direction. So let's do stories. You guys like stories. You like them, and I'm okay at telling them. So I was trying to think of more worst guests that I've had, and while I do have bad guest stories, I also have some funny guest stories. And I suppose some of them are bad too. Oh, you know what? No, I did tell this story. I think my craziest guest story, and I'll repeat it because some of you are new to the channel, is the guest that I punched out of my tour. And if you haven't heard this story before, then strap yourselves in because it's a doozy. No, it's just a crazy story. There was a but I have told it before, so I'm gonna. Long story short, I think I literally have a video named "I punched a guy out of my tour." Tour guide punches guest out of tour. Long story short, there was a tour guest who kept correcting me in front of my guests, and about half the time he was wrong. Like he'd correct me about some fact or whatever. Like I'd say, "Oh, this building's been here 150 years," and he'd be like, "No, that's not correct because Taiwan wasn't even actually blah blah blah." And and then we Googled it and we found out I was right. So I was giving like a speech to the group, and it was a big group. We had like 9 guests, and I'm giving the speech to 9 people, a tour guide kind of speech. And then he like corrects me in the middle of it, again, and we Google it, and he's wrong. So I give him a little like punch in the shoulder, like, okay, man, thanks for like ruining my speech and doubting me yet again, and I give him a punch in the shoulder, and he looks at me and he says, "You punch like a girl," and I'm like, well, I wasn't trying to physically hurt you. It was just a light jab. What the F? I guess he's already embarrassed because he was wrong, so he didn't like the disrespectful punch on top of the fact that he was already wrong. So, but, he's now insulting me, saying I hit poorly. So I give him, I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't actually trying to hit hard, but if you want to see how I hit, so then I punched hard. And a funny thing about me, like a funny but true, not funny, just funny, interesting, not funny, haha. A true fun fact about M13 is that I punch way above my weight level. And I know this just from those punching machines, at arcades and stuff, the punching bags that like rate your punch. Like, it's pretty common for me to go with like a group of guys all bigger than me, and then for me to punch higher than all of them. So anyways, I punch well. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I punch him. I think I punch him pretty much my hardest. And then he goes, then he's like, "Oh, that's too hard. Now I owe you a punch." And I'm like, "Oh my God, are we still doing this? Okay, fine. Here, punch me back." So then he punches me back, and then 3 hours later, he walks up to me and says, "Does your arm hurt?" And this is hours later. I'd literally forgotten our little incident completely. So I had no idea why he was asking me that question. It'd be like if you just walked up to a random stranger on the street and said, "Hello, does your foot hurt?" Like, it's just an odd question. And I'm like, "No, my arm doesn't hurt. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh," and then he walks away. And then I like thought about it for a bit. I'm like, "Oh, he's referring to when he punched me 3 hours ago. He's asking if my arm still hurt." And then I realized, oh, he's asking because his arm still hurts. He's in a lot of pain hours later from me punching him. And then the next morning he quit the tour. And him quitting the tour, like he said he was gonna like ride on his own. He had a bunch of excuses lined up for why he was quitting. And then I said to him, "Okay, if you want to ride back on your own, that's okay. But here's my advice: make sure you stop here. Make sure you do this, because this is the best thing on the tour, and it's on the way back. Make sure you do that." And then he ignored all of my advice, and just rode straight back to the starting hotel and sat in the hotel and sulked for the next week. Yeah. So that's I don't know if that was a bad customer, but that was an interesting, unique. He wasn't a bad customer because he didn't bother me so much. It was just a weird situation. One of the craziest things to happen on my tour, I actually had two guys come do my tour that I knew through video games. They were like two guys I regularly played League of Legends with. Like, we played like all the time, and then so all three of us didn't know each other in real life, and then they just knew me through video games, and then the two of them decided to book a tour at the same time, so all three of us met in real life on my tour for the first time. So that's interesting. And then it gets way more interesting because one of those two guys was a bit of a aggressive, paranoid drunk, which is, I liked the guy. I didn't have a problem with it at all. But when he drank, he got a little hostile. And then he got into an argument with the hostile one, got into the argument with the other guy that I know through video games. And he gave him a couple of pushes. And then the non-drunk one said, "If you push me again, I'm going to drop you." And he pushed him again, and the non-aggressive guy broke the aggressive guy's nose. I don't know if he broke his nose, but he busted it badly, and the guy was bleeding for like a long time, and his like, it was bad. Like, his shirt was drenched in blood. He had blood all over his pants, and yeah. And it was funny because like that was like halfway through the tour, so we had to like just get along. But guys are cool, man. Men, it's like I think they didn't talk to each other for a day or so, and then after that they went back to being friends again. I don't know if they still game together, but I wonder if I could probably find them. League of Legends, I just recently reinstalled it. I haven't played a game yet, but I did reinstall it. I started watching that Arcane show on Netflix. It's great. If you haven't seen it, if you have Netflix and you haven't seen the TV show Arcane, you should watch it. It's loosely based on the video game, but you in no way, shape, or form need to play the game to watch the show. In actuality, if you do play the game and you watch the show, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't know they were sisters. They're not sisters in the video game. This is, like, it actually makes it worse, probably. Yeah. So, what else? What other interesting or unique experiences have I had with guests?